Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, December 15th, 2015. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The 11 members who will make up the cabinet of this country have been told not to forget the purpose of the office they now hold. The advice was given by Bishop Sonny Williams at yesterday's swearing-in ceremony at Heritage Square. We hear more on the event and those who received ministerial portfolios in this report by Gaylon Burnett.
Afternoon, December 14, 2015. In front of a large gathering at Heritage Square in capital city Kingstown, the 11 members of the cabinet took their oath of office. But before they did so, Bishop Sonny Williams told them that justice, mercy, and humility should always be the order of the day.
And I want to charge the men who are about to take this oath to remember where God has brought you from. Remember, in the new government, 3 things the Lord requires of you. Firstly, to do justly. Justice for all. Equal access to goods and services of all members of the society. May I remind you that you're not going to be just a government for ULP. You are a government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You are called to serve yellow, red, blue, and green, and all those who don't have a color. Your task is building a robust community where everyone matters.
Governor General Sir Frederick Ballantyne congratulated the 4 political parties who contested the December 9th general elections and said that they all helped to give legitimacy to the democracy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He also charged the members of the cabinet to figure out how to bring SVG back together.
First, let me extend sincere congratulations to the Honorable Prime Minister on his election victory, and congratulations to all the members of cabinet who have just been sworn in. I'd like to take this opportunity also to extend congratulations to Mr. Arnhem Eustace and his team, to Mr. O'Neill and his team, and Ms. Anicia Batiste and their team. What I wanted to say was to remind the members of cabinet that they represent not only their party, but all of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We cannot move forward unless we unify our people. So my charge to all of these members of cabinet, and maybe my charge to you, ask yourself, what can I as an individual do to bring all our people together?
Ralph E. Gonzalez, do swear I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
The members of the cabinet who took the oath of office, the oath of secrecy, and the oath of allegiance are Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, Minister of Finance, Public Service, Legal Affairs, and Grenadine Affairs. Sir Louis Straker, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. Montgomery Daniel, Minister of Housing, Informal Human Settlement, Lands and Surveys and Physical Planning. Cecil Mackey, Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture. Sabota Caesar, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries and Rural Transformation. Frederick Stevenson, Minister of National Mobilization, Social Development, Family, Gender Affairs, Persons with Disability, and Youth. Camila Gonsalves, Minister of Economic Planning, Sustainable Development, Industry, Trade, Information, and Labor. Jimmy Prince, Minister of Education, National Reconciliation, and Ecclesiastical Affairs. Senator Luke Brown, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Senator Julian Francis, Minister of Local Government, Transport and Works, Jobs and Urban Development, and Senator Deborah Charles, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, National Reconciliation and Ecclesiastical Affairs. Defeated ULP candidate Carlos James, who has been appointed as senator, is expected to take up the position of Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, with Jomo Thomas tipped to fill the position as Speaker. In his remarks, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves urged supporters to recognize that SVG belongs to everyone and not to get caught up in triumph. He said partisanship must be kept within reasonable limits and never generate into naked divisiveness.
To the supporters of the ULP, that our electoral triumph, our victory, must not in any way engender in us a sense of triumphalism. We ought to recognize that the ecstasy of victory should be tempered by the realization that St. Vincent and the Grenadines belongs to all of us. Intolerance, bile, and hatred have no part to play in the mature competitive politics of our Caribbean civilization. No one will be permitted to subvert the will of the people or to take the law into their own hands to satisfy their lust for power. Those who have lost the general elections are required to abide by the rules. And in the memorable words of Sir Louis Straker, take your loss like a big man.
He further added that raw ambition and unrestrained personal agendas and refusal to accept the election results is a combustible mix, and advised the NDP that if they continue on the path that they are on, this will only result in their political demise. Galen Burnett reporting for SVGTV News.
Meanwhile, PM Gonsalves told a gathering at Heritage Square that the results of the general elections of December 9th have placed his Unity Labour Party in a much stronger position. He reiterated that the election results reflected the will of the people and commended the Office of the Supervisor of Elections for their exemplary service.
They are to be highly commended as exemplars in upholding the sacrosanct of the individual voter's rights to choose the government of his or her choice, and in further strengthening our popular democracy and its basic institutions.
Stating his disappointment at persons who may assume otherwise that the elections were rigged by making unfounded and uninformed accusations, Dr. Gonsalves said that while it is not his duty to seek prosecution of these persons, he will ensure that democracy and order are kept.
My solemn duty, however, to ensure that there is no subversion of or assault upon law and order, safety and security, and our democratic institutions. Let no one be any doubt about this. As Prime Minister, I assure the nation that the lawfully constituted authorities of the state will resist stoutly the attempt by anyone to create disorder in our land of peace and stability.
The Prime Minister further stated that politics and public policy are serious business, not part of the entertainment industry.
ULP deserves its magnificent victory because of its phenomenal uplifting campaign of love, grounded in accomplishments over the past 15 years, its vision and plans for the future, its quality team of candidates, its tried and tested quality leadership, and its organized communion with the people.
The leader of the New Democratic Party, Annie Eustace, remains defiant that his party will not concede defeat for the December 9th general elections. Speaking on the picket line in front of the administrative complex yesterday, Eustace told SVG-TV News that his party has concrete evidence that the elections were not even-handed, that some of the recounts prove that there were vast discrepancies even with the agents.
This election is fraudulent. I'm absolutely certain about it. You can't have 100% turnout in a polling station. And in one case, we have 101% turnout in a polling station in Central Leeward. You have Mr. Straker, who won by 313 votes. And there are 2 polling stations where all the heads of all the ballots were cut off. You can't even tell who voted. And those 2 polling stations amount to more than the 313 votes. They have 323 between them. You know, so a lot has gone on, you know, and it is clear that some of our agents were compromised. Some of them left the polling station before the count was completed. All these irregularities took place in that, and it also took place in North Winwood. If I didn't have a substantial lead in my constituency, I would be in trouble too.
According to Eustace, he believes, quote, that the 100% voter turnout in some constituencies is confirmation that the elections were compromised, unquote. He also chided the behavior of the supervisor of elections, Sylvia Findlay, as well as the presiding officer for Central Leeward, Winston Games.
If you have a 10-vote change or a 15-vote change, you understand that, but 300 overnight. And then yesterday afternoon, you have the supervising elections in the building with Mr. Gaines, the same man who gave all the trouble down in Central Leeward and who was involved in all the corruption that took place down there. And the supervising election is there locked up with him in the supervisor's office, and he comes out with a package. And then when people started questioning him, he is telling the supervisor said, ask me.
The New Democratic Party, the NDP, staged day 2 of their picket against what they claim was a fraudulent December 9th general elections. Yesterday, supporters of the party protested outside the administrative complex, and today they picketed just outside the electoral office, where police officers were posted. Chanting refrains of freedom and justice and making addresses on a bullhorn, the protesters were unwavering in their efforts to be heard. Leader of the NDP, Adam Eustace, thanked the gathering for their support and called for them to continually rally around their efforts. Eustace outlined that his party would continue to picket and use the legal court system to get justice. He says that he and his team will never give up because of the overwhelming evidence they have that the elections were not free and fair.
We'll protest as much as we can, and in addition, today all our matters will be filed in the court of law to deal with this issue. We need a decision from the court. While it's true we can protest, that does not give us the decision. The decision has to come from the court. And I'm confident that with the evidence that we have, that we can win that case. And in that case, we will form the government of the So keep your hands up. I know it's Christmas time and people have a lot of other things to do. And there'll be time also for you to do that. But right now our concentration is to ensure that our case is very strong and that we can change the result of the election and put the New Democratic Party in office. That is what we're working on here today. So not just about the protesting anywhere. We must take the legal action that is necessary to overturn what has happened. And I'm confident in our legal team, and I'm confident in the people of St. Vincent. I'm confident in the New Democratic Party supporters. And I say, stand your ground, and we will win this battle together. Thank you very much.
Former NDP politician Kingsley Lane also addressed the gathering and urged supporters to continue to defend their rights as citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
If a set of people elected to be our government can behave in the most abominable manner, do not do their work, don't fix the road, don't represent us, behave in such a way that everybody is upset, and yet increase their majorities. Are we stupid? No. Are we Vincent stupid? No. We may be quiet people. We are not docile people. And we are peaceful people. Yeah. But we are not stupid people. No. And therefore, what you are defending here this afternoon, I speak to all those who I addressed before. The security forces, Brothers and sisters, this is our country. If you leave St. Vincent and go to somebody else's country as a refugee, they don't have a great lot of respect for you. Why are you running from your country? You have to defend your turf. And if you don't defend your turf, you have no country. Where are you going? You're going to be a refugee? Europe is overflowing with them. We have to defend this country and the principle of one man, one vote in free and fair elections where the people exercise their choice.
Displeased by the disturbance, he said, caused by supporters of the New Democratic Party, the NDP, at the Layu police station when the ballots were being recounted last Thursday. Electoral witness Vernon McDowell is of the view that measures were taken to ensure that the elections were free and fair. In an interview with SVG Television today, McDowell, who was the Unity Labour Party's representative witnessing the recount in Layu, explained that the NDP agents were well accommodated by the presiding officer Winston Games and other electoral officials.
But all of the ballot boxes that were dealt with in my presence were properly secured from my recollection. They have some seals that the SSU had to assist Mr. Games with the scissors to cut them off. So all of the ballot boxes in my presence were securely fastened or taken care of actually. Mr. Games would have emptied the box, take out the envelope with the ballots, put them on the table or the desk, and then he will count them, show them to us, well, take them out, show them to us, and then count. Pass them to Mr. Clive Robinson, and then Mrs. Cummins, who was representing the ULP as an agent, and Maya Eustace, they also took the ballots and further counted them.
You mean the NDP?
Yeah, the NDP, sorry, yeah. They counted them also. When they were satisfied, we got the total and we recorded it.
In his defense of the presiding officer, McDowell says the accusations being meted out against Games are unwarranted, as he did not have a ballot box in his vehicle, but instead has a kit for storing stationery for the electoral process.
Disappointment with it is how the people carry on and get on with, and they don't, as far as I'm aware, they don't have any basis for that. They're just going around pointing finger, and I felt it so much for Mr. Games, because Paul was just meeting him in the street and saying your thief ballot box, which is nothing, absolutely nothing like that. And I thought the big wigs from the NDP should have had the audacity to go out and say, well, hey, it's nothing like that. Let me wait until the count is finished, and if anything transpires, we will think. Because when I get to the polling station, the first thing they were saying, they're running from one end to the other. The news just came over that Chair Baptiste win his seat over in North Windward. And I say, how this could happen? Because I know from recounting, you can only go this way or that way by a few votes. Because I have gone to polling station, I have seen the proceeding at preliminary count, and it's only probably 2, 3, 4 votes may be different if you have to have a different amount from that night.
Veteran lawyer and Queen's Counsel Panel Campbell is urging the NDP to rethink their decision not to take up their seats in Parliament. The New Democratic Party leader, Annim Eustace, has stated that the members of the NDP who won their seats in the December 9th general elections will not be going to Parliament, because doing so will indicate that they have conceded defeat, which they are not. He is claiming that the party won the elections. Speaking on his Law and You program on SVG-TV Monday night, Campbell urged the leadership of the NDP to utilize the legal procedures and take whatever evidence of wrongdoings to the High Court, which is a just and impartial body. He, however, urges the NDP to rethink their boycott of Parliament, pointing to the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which states that a member shall vacate his seat if he is absent from the sittings for a period set by the rules of the House in the Standing Order 74-2, and explains that would occur if a member continues to stay away after 3 consecutive times without leave.
Immediately after the third such meeting, direct the attention of the member concerned to the provisions of this order. If the member continues to be absent for the next 3 meetings, then, unless before the expiration of the last of those meetings, the member has obtained the leave of the Speaker in writing, or unless the House, upon motion made without notice, has granted him leave of absence, he shall vacate his seat under Section 29(3)(a) of the Constitution.
The Queen's Counsel urged the NDP to keep the provisions in mind and ensure that their boycott doesn't exceed the stipulated limit.
Standing Order 74-2 is the rule of procedure which governs absence from the House. So what I'm saying to the leadership of the New Democratic Party is, if you feel you must boycott sittings of the House, make sure your boycott doesn't last beyond the stipulated 6 meetings. Otherwise, your seats would be declared vacant. And the High Court cannot grant an injunction to stop that happening.
The life of former Member of Parliament and Attorney General Grafton Cephas Isaacs was celebrated today as he was laid to rest at a state funeral held at the Kingston Methodist Church. Prior to the funeral service, his body was laid inside the House of Assembly for at least 4 hours of viewing by government officials and members of the public. At the service at the Methodist Church, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves paid tribute to Isaacs, describing him as a man of robust intelligence and integrity who had made immense contribution to this country, which could be seen in many legal reforms which he implemented. Dr. Gonsalves referred to Isaacs as an early defender of women, noting that his work has led to change in the area of domestic violence.
Similarly, his legislation, his law concerning matrimonial procedures, domestic violence. He was an early protector of women in violent relationships. Again, as times have gone on, that law has been altered for the better. But his Grafton Isaacs, who took his own experiences in the community and sought to use the law as an instrument of social change.
Delivering the eulogy, his sister Olive Isaacs says her brother was a defender of truth and justice.
Contribution to the upliftment of this country is legendary and must never be forgotten. For example, he was instrumental in opening up trade in the fisheries industry between Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. By establishing the bonds of friendship and cooperation between both countries, he was given high recognition and awarded China's highest civil award, that is, the Order of the Brilliant Star with Grand Honor. And that's referenced in the star, the Conception Star, November 25th, 1983. And so by any measure, his was a distinguished career that left an indelible mark on his homeland. For these contributions, we salute him with pride and thank him.
After serving St. Vincent and the Grenadines for over 40 years, former government advisor and parliamentary representative for South Windward, Sir Vincent Beach, has offered to demit his post later this month. The announcement was made at yesterday's swearing-in ceremony at Heritage Square by Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who thanked Sir Vincent for his outstanding contribution not only to the ministry but to the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Vincent, along with my permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security, has had the basic oversight day-to-day of the ministry of the past 10 years. In addition to the policy advice that both of them, Sir Vincent and the permanent secretary, have offered me. I am already discussing as his possible replacement a young man with tremendous experience in the field of national security, intelligence, and white-collar crimes. Again, I am in quest of transitioning to a new generation of leaders. I promise you that in the campaign, and I have to carry out that promise in government.
Robert Ford, or Bobby Miners, a 38-year-old resident of Indian Bay, is now before the court on 2 separate charges of inflicting grievous bodily harm and unlawfully discharging a firearm on Alan Williams of Pollyard in Arnisvale. The incident is said to have occurred on December 9, 2015, during an altercation between both men. Williams is said to have sustained a gunshot wound to his leg on the date in question. As a result, Ford Miners was arrested and charged and granted station bail in the sum of $10,000 with one surety. He appeared at the Serious Offences Court today and entered a not guilty plea. The matter has been adjourned to January 10, 2016.